welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
Hi, Beth.
I'm Eve.
Eve forgot her name for a
No,
second.
I'm
Cat's
watching
being
the cat.
My cat is trying to do something very naughty right now in my kitchen. We're
He's
at my
just looking
house
for
this
something
week.
naughty to do.
Yeah, we're at my house this week. Due to special circumstances, they spared me the task of carrying all my junk to their house because of my boo-boo surgery I had this week. So, but I think you're going to go first,
Yes,
right?
I am.
Okay. I'm going to get set up with my knitting.
So, in our Etsy shop, Three Sisters Creative, we're having a sale, which is 15%
50% off of,
of a purchase of
I think
$25.
I think $25 or more. I'm sorry.
We'll put it
doesn't
right
let
here.
me.
It'll be right here at the bottom.
Yes, the Etsy app doesn't let me look at the sales.
So,
Just at, you know.
so among the things that we have to offer, we have lots of scissor fobs and needle minders and some patterns and stuff like that.
That would be a cat.
That's my cat.
But among them, we have some Halloween-ish kind of things, October-ish things. So we have some pumpkin needle minders. Cat. So
Sorry.
we had a minor cat-tastrophe.
At their house, the dog is doing weird things. At my house, the cats are crashing.
No, as I was saying, speaking of cats, we're having, they're basically Halloween-ish, October-ish stuff. So we have pumpkin needle minders. That's among the things that we have that are, and other stuff we have that's Halloween themed, if you will, are scissor fobs. So there's these with witches' hats, and you probably can't see them very well, so we'll have pictures. And some with ghosts, little ghost charms. And these are like little pumpkins and spider web, spider charms. There's some with pumpkins. And we have, I guess, I don't know if we have just one of these.
Yes,
The other one
we
must have
just-
sold.
yeah.
This is a little cauldron on the end of this one. So anyway, so check out, if you're looking for something Halloween themed, we have those available. And in our Etsy shop,
and other
Three
things.
Sisters,
I was gonna
yeah, Three Sisters Creative is the name
and the
of our
link
Etsy
is
shop.
the link is in our link tree. That's in the description every week. And there's also project bags and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And I hope to be adding more project bags soon.
It's one of those things.
One of those things.
Well, it's one of those things where I want to sew, my heart wants to sew, but I go in there to do it and I just kind of go. And so I really wanted to, day before yesterday, really wanted to. And I have a pattern that I have made that I make my project bags with so that they're all the same, right? Can't find that pattern anywhere.
Oh no.
Yeah. Isn't any of the places I normally keep it, so I don't know where it is. So I'm going to have to write it again.
So, what I've been working on this week, last Monday was my birthday, as you remember,
Everybody knows.
well, everybody had the day off, what can I say?
Did you read that people were saying happy birthday on
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much. So I worked on my birthday on this on the chart that I got for my birthday, the little kit, this Yay chart from the Southwestern Rugs of the Southwest series. Southwest Decoratives is what the company is called. So I did a center start, and I just did one thread length basically, so I just had this one length. And then this is a needle minder I got for my birthday as well. I don't think I had it No, I did not have it last weekend when we did the video. So it's a little elephant.
Rachel gave you that.
Yeah, Rachel gave me
So cute.
my sister-in-law. She's basically my sister-in-law too. But she gave me this little needle minder along with some jewelry that she made. So, and she has an Etsy. Is it Etsy? Is it on
No.
Etsy?
She's working on her Etsy shop. Yeah, she's
Okay.
gonna have an Etsy when
Yeah.
she gets it up. We'll put
She
it
has a
Yeah.
shop on Facebook, or
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Rachel's Creations, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, so I did a little bit of work on this, and I'm continuing to work on it. And because it was a kit and it came with like the threads just in a little hank, I had bought this. I don't remember when I bought it, but I bought it at the attic, I think. But it's just a thread drop, and a wooden thread drop, and it says Nantucket, and it's got a big whale on there.
So cute.
And I don't really use thread drops. I use when I use Fancy Floss, they're already on the little card, but then because I had these threads, I think there are only 5 colors, but these hanks of threads are a little big for the holes on this needle minder, but I squish them through. But this little ecru tan color, there's a whole bunch of it because it's all
It's full coverage.
full coverage behind the design. So I split it and I put like two hanks of it in here, and there's still more in the bag. But this
she has that in her birthday bag.
came in, yes, my birthday project bag, which is there. That Eve made for me. So anyway, so I finally found a chance to use this. And then also I did some more work on my bunny sampler. So now I'm in the process of filling in this little hill. I'm almost done with it. And then I still have to tackle the big spider rows at the top. I have waited on that. But one thing I did find when I was filling in the grass here, when I got to this heart that I was so happy with, I was the initials down here, and the year, and the outline of the heart are all done in Smyrna crosses. And I was getting so good at it, and I was so clever, and I had just enough thread to do the whole thing of the initials and the date and the outline of the heart, and I did the last of the Smyrna crosses, because those are all done with one thread, and then the heart itself is filled in with satin stitches with 2 threads, right? And so I did all that, and I was feeling really clever, and I started then on the green of the hill, and I got over here and I realized that the heart is like, it's over 2. I'm stitching these parts over 2 threads, so the heart was off by one thread, 1 block. So the grass around the heart, because I thought, well, I ain't moving that. And so the grass around the heart is like, it's fudged a little bit. So if you look really closely at it,
look really close.
you can see it's a little off, a little different from the rest of it. But otherwise,
Who's gonna look?
Yeah.
Well, like Jenny says, if people come up and look at the backside of something,
They're not your friend.
So that's the bunny sampler. So it's coming along. So I
Looks
might actually,
really pretty.
I might actually finish it, this month and next, depending on this project. So this is my Christmas towel that I've been working on, and I finished filling in the deer's butts, and so then I went and did all their antlers.
I think that's the quote of the week.
I did all their antlers, so their antlers are done, and so then I got kind of bored with that. Well, the only thing left is I have to do like their noses, and there's like there's a little red blob. There's a little red blob over here, and I hope that it's in the right place, because it may or may not be. But
That's
so
why I'm a motif person, because
Well-
I don't want random red blobs in the wrong place.
I just happened to have red thread left, a piece of red thread left a long time ago when I was doing their. I guess I did all their hats. There's a red stripe and a little bit of red, here and there on the deers, and so I had done them all, and I just had this little random piece left, and so I did the little red blob because each of the deer is wearing a little scarf, and on the scarf there's one little red thing on the scarf, and so I happened to have the red, and I did the one red, and so what I'm not looking forward to, because I think all that's left on the deer are their noses. And then, and their cheeks. I have to remember to do their cheeks. There's like, one stitch here, one stitch there to make their cheeks. And then it's all backstitching to outline everything, And that's like their scarves, there's like fringe on the scarves, and it's all done in backstitch. So you won't be able to see anything until that's done. So, there's a lot of the, what's left to do is white, and it's on this white towel, so it's going to be well. For instance, one thing I added was I had done all the antlers on the deer, and decided to do something different to put the Santa Claus in, because I keep thinking, oh, I'm almost done. It's like, oh wait, there's all this. So I did Santa and the sled and the tree and the gift. And on Santa, what you can't see, and you probably won't, even if I take a picture, probably won't be able to see, is I did all the white. There's white, all, down below, and fortunately, all the white is outlined by gray and by black backstitching, so you'll eventually be able to see it all. But so Santa's almost done. I have like his pack is made of grays, and there's some gray around his hand and face, and then there's some flesh tone, to fill out his face and everything else. But then the backstitching is what really makes that part of the design, because it outlines his his face and his hat and his glove, blah 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 blah. So the backstitching is really vital, and then I have to sort of figure out, which I didn't do on the pattern, is figure out like some way to put reins in between the deer and connect them to Santa somehow. So that part I didn't think through when I made the little pattern.
So your WIP-GO challenge is to finish it?
Mm-hmm. I don't think I'm that far left to do, because I did all of this Santa in one day. Yeah.
Oh,
by the end of the
get
month.
it done.
Yeah, so I did all of this in
Is this your second one this month?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm already done with the other one. So I have to the end of the month to finish this. So hopefully,
that's not bad.
yeah, hopefully I'll get it done. So I think that's me.
All right. Well, I am going second. So right now, let me put a thread.
Wait, I have to put a thread.
I have to put my scissors over here because they're exactly like yours.
Those are pretty.
Yeah.
So, I have an FFO,
Yay.
Foxy Fall, Stitching with the Housewives. I was going to put a little jute bow up here. I'd been thinking about it since I finished this earlier this week. And I have the little bow all made, but it needs like a button or something. And I know that somewhere I have some fall type buttons that I bought a year ago. They are wherever my pattern is. I have looked through many things. Obviously not everything, or I would have found the buttons. However, I think it still looks cute just like that. And I have the Thanksgiving one, the What's in My Cup Thanksgiving one that I did last year, ready to finish. I was gonna finish that for today, so I could have them both done. But Beth and I decided to watch a horrible movie yesterday. We will talk about that later.
Yeah.
So
So cute.
This is really adorable, and I love the way you finish things.
I would help her if she asked me. And then I have a finish. This is Pick of the Patch Erica Michaels.
So cute. It came out so cute.
It's supposed to be this one here that's on this grayish fabric. So I had to make a lot of adjustments. I did do the, there's a right along here, and this is where I want the picture, right here, while I'm talking about it. There's this crisscrossy thing that we talked about a week ago.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago.
What?
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago.
A week ago?
No,
2 weeks
anyway.
ago?
Okay.
I don't know.
Anyway,
In one of our past episodes.
the color that's supposed to be used on that is this goldish color right here. But around this goldish color is supposed to be a more orange color, which would look horrible on this. Trust me, I tried. And I went ahead and used the called for on these little Smyrna crosses right here, and went ahead and put it inside of this heart on this side. But I used the same yellow that I used everywhere else for that that symbol around the heart. It makes it look kind of weird, but I like it anyway.
Let me see. Oh, this heart here?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
And that color of thread is exactly the same color as the fabric.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I had, I put a stitch of it on to see how it looked, you know, and I was like, you can't even see that. Now, you could see it once the yellow is around it, but.
And then you did it opposite over here, or don't?
No, that's the way it's
That's
called
neat.
for over there.
It really looks great. Everything about it is great, and I love the big cross stitches.
Yeah, I chose a different color.
Yeah.
Because the color that I was supposed to be in didn't show up.
Yeah.
You know, it on the picture.
But this fabric is problematic.
Yeah, but it's so
But
pretty.
it looks really good.
It's worth it.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm hoping for that rabbit. Once I change the one rabbit, which I didn't do this week, but you know,
Yeah.
It looks really good.
So,
because I want to use that fabric.
and you know, the ladies at the attic, and I'm sure most stitching places are like that, but the ladies, because when we went to that one in New Mexico, they were fantastic
Yeah.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the ladies at the attic are so helpful in helping. I told them, this is the color of fabric I have. They have another piece of fabric over there. This is a Murano Corée in rust that I got at Hobby Lobby, but they have fabric this color at the attic. And I said, my fabric is that color, and my problem is I need an orange substitute. I'm thinking a white color. And so we tried a couple of different ones, and she picked out a great color, I think.
It's so nice because it's not white. It's
Right.
like burlap almost, which
Well,
makes me
it's-
feel fallish.
it's,
so pretty.
That's not the one. I can't remember what color it is. Vanilla
It's
or
so
something.
pretty,
I don't know. But it's,
It's the perfect tone.
yeah, it works really well. And it's a Classic Colorworks color. And Classic Colorworks has so many different shades of white, you know, but she found the perfect
You know,
one.
I think when you go to small shops like that, it's so nice because when I went to Mull Queen with Dad's quilt, I had that crazy, you know, quilt fabric. What do you call it? Strip set and the panels, and I'm like, I don't know how to tie all this together. And the lady there helped me audition fabrics and helped me find that perfect border and the perfect bigger border, and
And
it's
that's the
perfect.
difference between going with any, especially craft,
Mm-hmm.
between going to someplace that hires people who don't do that craft,
Yeah.
and going to people say, oh, it's much more expensive when you go to those shops. It is,
Yeah.
but the people that you talk to can actually help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's,
because if she had just gone, to Joann's, they'd have gone. "That
I
looks good."
mean, I get
and they have opinions.
yeah,
But
it's
different.
Not like that.
It's a different
Well,
sort of.
and also because that woman at the quilt shop, this was at Mull Queen quilt shop here in right here down the street. They know, oh, I know what fabric, and they went right to the fabric because they know their inventory, and they're, you know, just like at the attic.
And they make quilts, and they
and at the attic, you know, they know their inventory, so they know, oh, here, try this, you know.
So the next time I go to the attic, I'm going to take this with me, and I'm going to say, look, you helped me do this.
Yes, they love that. I know Tempe Yarn does the same thing. Like when I get done with this, I'm going to go, and they'll take a picture.
And that's also the difference between ordering your stuff online and getting it at. I realize that not everybody has.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to see it in person with your own eyes.
Yeah.
But also, smaller shops do struggle with inventory more than bigger shops of, you know, making sure they have enough of this or enough of that. And so, you know,
they can order stuff for you too, so that's nice.
Yeah, they do, and you just have to wait a little while. You know, that's okay. Because then you get the personal attention.
Yeah.
Enough of that. Okay, so I finally finished this. So now I'm going to start on the last autumn berry with the scarecrow on that fabric I showed you last time.
The fall leaf fabric, is it the cloudy one?
Uh-huh.
The modeled one.
Oh yeah.
I already cut the piece exactly the size, and I'm gonna zigzag around it because this one is framed like you wouldn't believe, all over.
Oh.
So yeah. So I'm like, I don't want that frame because I cut it the right size. So I can't wait to get started. Now I am going to have to, on the next one, this face is not filled in.
Oh.
So I'm going to get probably this color, or, you know, and just fill it in.
Yeah.
So that his face shows up. So, yeah.
Oh.
And then I got some happy mail. Teresa, thank you so much.
That's so cool.
She sent a pattern, a beautiful card, some floss drops, and a ring for my floss drops. So, yay, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Pattern?
It is Stitch Toolbox Halloween 2020 edition, Cobblestone Castle.
Okay, can I see? We'll put a picture, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So thank you, Teresa.
That's
I really
so
appreciate
sweet.
that.
that's really cute.
I'll say, why is this so heavy? This pair of scissors are stuck to my magnet.
And then,
Oh, let me see that pattern. I want to look at it real quick. Sucks getting old.
Little arms.
no, when I leaned forward,
there.
it helped. It was
Oh.
hurting here. Okay, so this is my first WIP-GO call for October when Witches Go Riding, 15 days. So today is the 14th? 15th? What is today?
Today's 15th.
Yes.
The 15th, so that means I've done 14 days on this. Because, no, 13 days. Because I had a day when I didn't work on it. So, whatever day it is, after I work on it, it's one day less. So, here's where I am. I have, since this month started, I've done this.
Oh, that's good.
Right here. But I also backstitched around the moon. I had a backstitch around there, but it still, you couldn't see it. And right now...
Maybe that's the quote of the week. I backstitched around the moon. I'm back.
So, I did this ghost. This ghost is in white, and it's invisible stitching. Right now I'm doing invisible stitching over here. And until you backstitch around it, it doesn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
But I ran out of thread partway through this backstitch. But I said, well, I'm going to have to get that thread out again to go around this ghost, so I'll just do them at the same time. But
What?
I'd be a lot further along.
Oh no. You know, you say this every week. So I'm just going to put it at the bottom. I'd be a lot further along if I could count.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you a t-shirt. I'd be much further along if I could count.
Part of it I just left because, but I was like stitching the H and I got to the S. I'd done the H and I got to the S and I was like, why is this wrong?
You shouldn't ask yourself that question. You already know the answer.
But where did I go wrong?
Yeah, that's
So the H was one stitch too short, so the S wasn't working out right. And then I was like, why is the placement wrong? Why isn't the S showing up in line with, because the two O's on the moon are
Oh no.
too far apart, and which means that this little star here is closer than this one. And you know what?
That's called dominoes.
Yeah. For what of a nail, a horseshoe was lost.
Yeah, and your heart is in the right place.
Yeah. I know, because like I was thinking, well, I should have done because I had to make the decision for some of those X's to make them
Fatter.
over
skinny.
3,
Yeah.
as opposed to doing some of them,
Half or
over
line
1
over
or
one.
whatever. And I thought I should have done a whole line over 1 because then it, just would have made my life a lot easier. But it's like you make that decision and you're like, oh, I don't know. So I'm like, does it really look bad? Does it look bad?
Yeah. So, lastly, what I'm working on now, I could not resist starting on this pattern. Felice Naughty Dog. I can't even tell you the ways my dog is naughty lately.
Not as naughty as my cat.
I bet. Dirty Annie Southern Style. Felice Naughty Dog. I
So
might
cute.
have to get the one that says, "You got me a whole tree."
The kitty one.
Mm-hmm.
I have something with Dirty
But-
Annie. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I just started on this. When was it? 3 days ago? 4 days ago? This is how far I am.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Fast. Because when I was working on that berry, I was having so much trouble getting that needle in the right spot that it wasn't making the stitch too far this way, too far that way,
Oh,
and
and that fabric's just easier.
And I was just like, I don't know if it was the color of the fabric or what. I was really struggling. And so I would have to stitch and then take it out and stitch and take it out because I would find out, and especially this eye, does that look like an eye to you? It does not.
It only looks like an eye because it's between the P and the C, and it makes me
Because you
read.
make the word
My brain says
Pick,
that must
right.
be an eye, right?
right. Okay, so the first time I was like, what is wrong with that? It doesn't look like an eye. I'm looking at the pattern going, well, that doesn't look like an eye. And I was like, yeah, but it still looks wrong. And so, it was half a stitch too far that way. So I looked at the C and I was like, well, that's a whole stitch too far that way. And so nothing is lining up to where the P will fit there with the
Yeah.
leaf. And
Oh,
so
no.
I had to take it all the way back out to the C. And then I stitched the C correctly and I went to stitch that again and I'm like, it just looks horrible. And I almost took those 2 stitches out so that it would look like an eye.
Yeah.
But then it wouldn't have matched any of this other stuff.
Yeah.
So I left it. But the others at least look like the letter they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
That does not. But I'm so happy with it.
It's so,
So
pretty.
in order to take a break on that, and I almost started on the nativity berry. But I says to myself, I want to start on that nativity berry the same time I'm starting on the other berry, and I'll be working on 3 berries at the same time, and not the When Witches Go Riding.
Yeah.
And yes, that will make me have to work on 32 count a lot. But, well, the Nativity berry is on 16 count, Ada. But I just thought, it'd be fun to just work on those 3 at the same time, see which berry goes faster. But those berries, the Christmas berry, the holly jolly berry, that one is a WIP-GO call, and that one I need to spend a certain number of days on it, 10 days I think, to complete the challenge. I don't have to finish it, I just need to work on it that many days. But I want to have all 3 of those done before Christmas. It seems doable. So, because I would like to start on my winter berries.
It would be doable if you could count.
That too. I would like to start on my winter berries before winter. That would be great.
But it's never winter here, so.
That's true. It is very
We
true.
get winter for about a week or so.
I suspect I'm going to be done with this Naughty Dog pattern
Very soon.
very soon, because I'm enjoying it, and I don't know how I'm going to finish it. I don't think I want to finish it like this, but
I think you should make it into a pillow and then give it to your dog to tear up. Chew to shreds.
she would.
Are those decorations on the Christmas tree stitched in, or are they added?
The decorations are stitched in, but it comes with
A little star button.
A star
Oh,
button.
That's cute.
yeah. So,
Nice.
and I'm not using the called for. I am some if I had it, but I wasn't gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, I need red. Okay,
Those are red.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Especially since the called for red is a gentle art color, I'm not going to go search for
So
that.
that's just interesting as a knitter, because everybody with knitting patterns, they get a pattern, let's say it's a sweater or a shawl, and then they buy whatever yarn floats their boat, mostly. I think some people say, oh, I want to make it exactly like the sample, but mostly people are like, I'm going to make that sweater, but I'm going to make it in these colors. But it seems like in the cross-stitch world, it's kind of the opposite. Like, going rogue is much more rare than making
Not
it just
as
like a
not as
sample.
much as you would think.
No.
I think some people do and some people don't. Some people want, especially like with the Stitching with the Housewives crowd, for instance. A lot of people want to know, exactly what they finished it on, exactly how they finished it, and so they'll post pictures of, their finish, which
Looks exactly like.
is like almost exactly the same, or it's just slightly variations or whatever. But and other people though that do the Stitching with Housewives patterns, like, because they typically Priscilla and Chelsea typically use black fabric, and so people who stitch, it's like, oh, I can't stitch on black, and they'll do it on turquoise or
Right,
something
right,
other
right.
color. And so it just depends. And then there are some people, like, I think
I guess what I
the
mean
Colorado
is-
cross stitcher basically changes everything.
Yeah.
So and,
I guess because I'm saying, like,
yeah,
like if I pick up I guess I'm not a frequent cross stitcher, but as a I call me novice, or just if I pick up a pattern at somewhere, I look at the called for. That's what I do.
Yeah.
That's what normally.
Yeah.
You do is you like, oh, I want to make this. What are the threads? And you get those threads.
Yeah.
But for a knitting pattern, you go like, I want to make this, and I'm going to use this yarn.
Yeah.
Or just I'm going to make it in my favorite color, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think
I just noticed that, and,
Yeah.
and Eve, because Eve's always like, I'm not using the call for colors, but I feel like
Yeah. Well,
Maybe
well,
most, because she's creative that way.
Well,
I guess I wouldn't look at a pattern and go, I'm going to make this, but I'm going to use.
part of that is that you may do it on a different fabric,
Right.
because you A, can't find the fabric, B, can't afford the fabric,
Or you like it different.
C, don't like the fabric.
Yeah.
And when I looked at these autumn berries, I liked the patterns.
Yeah.
I did not like the fabrics.
Right.
And I wasn't going to go buy linen for any of them if I
Yeah.
did. I have never stitched on linen before. I am stitching the next autumn berry on linen, and the person I talked to at the attic, she goes, "You've been working on 32 count for a long time. Trust me, you can work on this." I was like, "Okay," but to spend that much money on fabric for something that if you don't love that fabric is just not not worth it. And then with the threads, a lot of times, like this Gentle Art pomegranate, it's a Gentle Art color. I'm not even going to bother looking for it because it's a red,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to be able to find it. The Weeks colors, I have so many greens. I'm like, okay, I need a light green and a dark green. I happen to have one of them, and the other one I didn't have, and so I said, I'm just going to get another dark color. And I think that because the pattern, like a lot of times when I use a different color, for instance, she stitched this on white, I used an off-white. Not a big deal, right? I used a different orange. The orange that I used was an orange that I had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and but that orange is very bright compared to the orange that she used.
I guess what I mean. Well, and it's different because you're actually making a picture of something. So you're making a pumpkin. A pumpkin
Right.
is orange, whereas like with a knitting pattern, it's just it's
Or in my
more
case,
abstract.
my pumpkins,
Right.
right?
Right. Well, there's white pumpkins.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't concentrate on the called for. I am getting more of the called for stuff when it comes to threads, but I'm usually not interested in the called for fabric.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always, with fabrics, I always just use whatever. I pick something that I think is going to
Lend itself to that.
Yeah, that the colors are going to pop on.
What the heck?
And so and I my favorite fabric to stitch on is like 28 count Lugana.
Uh-huh.
And so because I'll buy white all the time and then just dye it whatever color
I see.
that I envision it. And but I do struggle with the idea of like substituting colors on threads because I'm like I don't know.
Yeah.
It just doesn't, like, I've got a bazillion once I started buying fancy floss, I would buy just whatever it was called for. And for a long time though I didn't get it. I just used the DMC alternatives or whatever because I have a lot of DMC. I have like almost all of the colors.
How much do skeins of yarn cost as a general rule?
Yarn.
I'm sorry.
Thread. The fancy floss generally cost a little over $2 a piece. If you buy DMC, it's like 50,
under $1.
6, 7, yeah, it's like 75
Well, see,
cents
so I was
or
just
something
thinking
like
like
that, cheaper
yeah,
than
that's
that.
that's a much ever risk to take
Yeah.
than a $28 skein of
Yeah,
yarn.
yeah.
You're like, I better love this yarn.
But yeah, so well, in this one, with this one, I substituted a color for this grass because it was the Gentle Arts avocado, and I it wasn't in stock, and so I got. So I was thinking, well, I'm going to look for it. But I thought, I know I have an avocado in one of the other colors, and so I think I had a Weeks Dye Works avocado, and I was looking at it, but it was kind of, I wasn't real happy with the color. It was a little on the grayish side, more on the gray side, more like an old avocado.
Well, it's rotting in your fridge.
And so
Sorry. I didn't mean to derail this conversation about color.
No,
Are you
but
done?
so
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah. So but I did have Classic Colorworks Peapod,
Yeah.
which is what I ended up using. And so that's my big scary substitution. I'm not. It's for some reason
Because you're a Trump.
I am. I'm
You're
a
a
rule
tree
follower.
trunk.
I'm a rule follower. I said this is this thread, so I'm going to use this thread. My only thing is in not in fabrics, you know, and that started out really.
I remember when you first dyed a fabric.
Yeah,
you were like, I think I'm going to try to dye a fabric.
Yeah, it was very scary to me, and I don't do the. A lot of
That's
people
good.
do the what is it called? Bake and baste, or bacon basting, where they'll dye it, and then to give it that crunchy sort of more mottled look, they'll actually put it in the oven for a few minutes, you know,
Oh, wow.
and sort of you know you get a little more of a color, and it sort of settles it in. But I just use the modeling when I dye it. I just wad up the fabric and and so it doesn't color all the fabric the same way. But so once I started doing that,
Well, that's darn creative.
yeah,
of you.
rather than I think I bought fabric once or twice or something, and so
Yeah.
but then rather than doing that, I just dye it myself and
Yeah.
and just dye whatever color I think will work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I usually dye specifically for a project. And then I have a few that I've dyed just randomly, just like, let's see what this comes out like, and then
Well,
hang
that's
on
good.
to them until I find
Exercising
something.
that muscle. That's
Yeah. So, but usually, I'm more of a rule follower.
good. Well, is it my turn?
Yeah. Sorry.
Are
yes.
you done?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Beth just took
So-
a second turn.
No, that's okay. She took a second. No, it's okay. So I guess I'll go over my projects first. I'm in the middle of a row, so I can't show you. Doggone it. My shawl, I did the photo, so I am almost done with the second third. So the first part of the shawl, I made this triangle, as you can see, and then you take one side of the triangle and you build out the trapezoid this way. So that's what I'm working on now. I am 11, 12, 13, 14, 14, let's see, 12, 13, 14, that's 3. I'm 9 rows from finishing this side. Woo! And then I'm going to put the stoppers there. And then I'm going to pick up, this is on a extra needle. This is the needle that Vicky sent me. I've been using it to hold my shawl. I'll pick up these stitches and then knit this way for the last third. So the end is in sight. I'm kind of excited. Talking about I'd be much further along if I could count. This lace section, you can kind of see the sun shining through it right here where my thumb is wiggling. It's a little fuzzy because this is like 161 stitches across, and so I would get all the way to the end, and the end numbers wouldn't work out, and I'm like,
I hate it when that happens.
so I'd go back, count. I think you were witness to that one time. I was like, I messed up 3 rows back or something. So I knit and unknit and knit and unknit, or knit and tink, knit and tink. Tink is knit backwards, get it? This section many times, and when I go to the other third, I've got another lace section, and I'm like, one of these days I'm going to attempt an entire lace shawl, but that's another day. So my symphony shawl this past weekend was opening weekend. Last night was opening night for the symphony, and my shawl was not ready, but it is okay because it was too hot. So it would have been miserable if I worn it, but it would have looked beautiful with my
Did you
dress.
see the sky out there today?
No, I haven't been out today.
It's
It's all cloudy.
Yeah.
Oh, cloudy
It's-
is an understatement.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
nice.
was off to the
So I don't
wet.
think it'll be hot tonight.
Oh, that'd be good.
As we were coming toward your house, you could see off in the distance it was really raining
Oh, nice.
over there, and then it was sprinkling,
So,
and the cloud. This
I really
sky
like
was all
this.
cloudy.
I really like this section. This is my the color C, which is like a variegated Malabrigo, and then these solid colors in between are the Cascade silks that I bought, purple, gray, and now black. And then there'll be another multicolored section, and then this will be done. So pretty. So I'll
you've
take up
gotten
some close up.
Pretty far. Let me
I've gotten
see
pretty
again.
far.
Let me see again.
So the
Her patterns are so interesting.
yeah. So where this purple stripe starts here is where the triangle ended, and so I've gotten this far. And once I block it, it'll probably be a lot bigger. I was able to spend a lot of time on it recently. And during my
Convalescing does that.
what?
Convalescing
Does that, yeah. So I thought to myself, oh, maybe I can have it finished by the weekend. So silly. Anyway, so that's one of the major things I'm working on. The other I thought that I had gotten progress to a point, but I convinced myself this morning that I did not. So this is Hannah's sweater, the body of the sweater. It is now 13 inches long. And I'm like, it doesn't look long enough. But I went and I put it on the, as we call it, the Hannikin, yesterday, 2 nights ago. And I'm going to put pictures here. It looks long enough. I pinned it because so what you do is you put it on 2 circulars, and then it'll spread out, because all these stitches are bunched. So then it'll spread out big enough and you can try it on or put it on a mannequin. And so I tried it on the Hannikin, and what I did was I pinned with strategic pins this to the mannequin right at the underarm bust level. And the waistband, see, now that I'm putting it on me, though, it's too short. The waistband looked like it went down far enough, and I sent Hannah a picture. I'll show you a picture. The waistband of the sweater. And she's like, it looks good. But I'm thinking, so this morning, I woke up at 5:30, and I was like searching for like typical sweater measurements. And for a medium, women's medium, they said this measurement from the underarm to the hem of the sweater is like 17 inches. And I'm like, even I was watching Arne and Carlos. He's like, I finished my sweater, and he's turning on. He's just not a tall guy. He's probably not 6 feet. But I was looking at the body of his sweater, and it came down kind of almost to below his bum, and I'm like, that is not 13 inches. Like, that's not long. And so I'm like, this is not long enough. I'm just impatient.
Well, it has a gathered waist, so
Yeah.
it's supposed to be waist, not hip.
Well, but it'll stretch over her hips, and she wants it
Then it has to
butt
be longer.
length. Yeah, she wants it butt length, and so that, because like even the sweater I made Dad, same thing. I got impatient. I'm like, oh, it's long enough. Even though he was little, and it rode up, on his back, and I'm like, it's not long enough, is it, Dad? He's like, it's a little short. so I don't want to make that mistake again. So I just got tired. So I actually started one of the sleeves because I'm like, oh, it's long enough. I'm going to start the sleeve. So I did on I have it here on double points, double pointed needles. Where is it? So here's my little start to the sleeve. And I realized as I was knitting, I'm like, oh, this is the problem with variegated yarn. When I make this, and it looks really small, it's just because it's gathered up. When I make the sleeve, because it's a smaller circumference, all these beautiful stripes are going to be a lot thicker. So the sleeves are going to be thick, thick color changes, and the body is thin color changes. But there's nothing you can do about that. That's just the way life goes. So, but I was realizing it as I was starting this. I was like,
You just have to remember the other sleeve. You need to start it
I thought
in the
about
brow.
that. I thought about that, but I'm like, you know what? I am not going to worry about it that much because it's pretty.
That's what happened to my bunny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, cause I
It just looks like a stripy bunny. It's okay. Yeah. So anyway, I thought about that. I thought, do I want to have to start it at the same place? It just will depend. It'll depend. If I look and I see that it's the same area, I'm gonna do it. And if not, I am not gonna worry about it because she will wear it whether the sleeves match or not. So that is my current project story. Oh, I gotta stand up for a second. I gotta get something. So, I will talk about my surgery later, but the other day I was like, Mark, because I can't lift anything of any significance. So I was like, pull my sewing machine out for me because I want to sew. And it's too heavy for me to, pull out of its place. So I made him put my table down and my box, because my box was open, but the table
You
wasn't
didn't
out.
make him. You asked. And
I
he's
did.
Sweet. He's sweet.
Yeah. and so he pulled my table down and he pulled my sewing machine out and got it all ready for me. So because I just felt like it. And since Friday was the coincidence of a good friend of mine at work, her last day, and it was opening weekend. And so I decided to make coasters for all my coworkers. And, I had already made my boss two for her birthday, so she didn't get one. But, so I went through my scrap box, and I had some strip sets left from Dad's quilt. And I had saved them, thinking I'm going to do something with them. And so I cut them into strips, and then I sewed them together again and made a big coaster pad and then cut it into fourths. So they were a little smaller than normally. Like the ones I usually make would be like 5 inches, and these are like 4 1/4. But I made 4 little 4-patch coasters. They're big enough for a cup, but they're kind of small. And they just kind of randomly came out. And then I backed them with a light fabric. This is all my dad's quilt fabric. But I backed them with a light fabric and I wrote them a little message. So there's 2 new people. So I wrote on theirs, best of luck in your first season. And then for Nick, I was like, I treasure our friendship. And for Etienne, I told her, good luck on your best adventure. So I made these. So this is my little, I need something to do that feels like something. And I'm there with my arm going, maybe this isn't the best thing, but it worked out. Yeah, so that was fun. It's very crooked and because they were so small, I did not do like a full quarter. I did like a seam around it, and then I turned it, and then when I went to edge it, I went so it's very kind of crooked and very, because I was like, I have no room to do a 1/4 inch. If I do a 1/4 inch, the whole coaster will be 1 inch wide. So anyway, I made those. I gave 3 of them out yesterday, and tonight I'll give Adam his. But so that was fun. I got happy mail this week. Knit Stars is starting. Knit Stars season 7 starts on November. I thought it was supposed to be October, and then I'm like, oh, it's November 1. So I completely forgot what I ordered, but it came. So one of the segments for Knit Stars this year is spinning, actually, I think. And so I was like, oh, fiber? Heck yeah, I'm all over it. So this is the fiber I ordered. It came in a plastic bag, and often what happens with independent dyers, well, not often, twice this has happened to me, there was condensation inside the bag. I think because these are dyed and braided, they don't dry 100% before they package them to send them off, because they're trying to get them out, Mm-hmm. So this is an independent dyer, and she I think, made this colorway exclusively for Knit Stars season 7. So when it came, it was wet. It was kind of soppy wet. I took it out of the bag, put it in my garage, and it's nice and dry now. But isn't that pretty? So I don't know what the lesson will be on spinning, but I was like, yeah, I'm all over that. So that's fun. So I got that, and then also this was a kit, and I don't remember if it's, I don't remember if this is 2 kits, like this is for 1 lesson and this is for 1 lesson. I don't think these are together. I think they were in the bag together, because I think this is 1 Knit Stars lesson and this is another. This is very thick. This is like looks like worsted, or maybe
It doesn't look
bulky.
like they would go together.
No, I think this might be bulky weight, but, and then this one looks like a mane and an accent color. So I don't remember. Oh, sorry. I don't remember what.
You picked up one of Best Threads.
Which Knit Stars? No, that's a tie.
Is it? Okay.
I don't remember which Knit Stars these are for, or what projects. But when I see them, I'll remember. That's how I am. So that's what I ordered for Knit Stars.
Did we get you?
I won't. And then, so one of our viewers sent a package, attention to me. And so I don't know who you are, but thank you. This is a whole bunch of project bags, probably because I'm always crying about not getting project bags. I was like, I don't have one of those. I don't have any project bags. But this is full of project bags, and I didn't see a note. So to whoever sent these, thank you very much. This is fun. It's 2 widow ones, 2 medium, or a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger than that, 2 of them, a long one. That's nice. Oh, 2 long ones.
Mm-hmm.
Pencil cases kind of size. 2 of those, 2 of these, 2 of these, and 2 of these. So I guess I can never complain again about not having a project bag. This is great though, because these are really nice. They can
What is
fit.
it you always say about the shoemaker son that
Yeah.
doesn't have any shoes?
Exactly. The cobbler's son has no shoes.
Yeah.
So it'll be a lot of fun. And actually, I found these work for yarn too, for small projects and for notions.
That long one is really good for putting needles in.
Yeah, this will fit. Yeah, and for notions pouches inside knitting bags. These are beautiful. Thank you so much. So please let me know who sent these so I can thank you properly. That's a lot of fun. Oops.
What does that say?
Oh, that's for my yarn.
Oh.
That goes with that. So I think that's everything for my current projects and current brain, I think. So story time.
Mm-hmm.
So on Tuesday of last week, it's not even been a week, feels like forever, I had surgery, and I never, ever
Doesn't that story start on Monday?
want to do that again. What story starts on Monday?
Your Tuesday story, doesn't it start on Monday?
Why?
With, ow, my eye hurts.
Oh. No, that was Sunday.
Was it Sunday?
It was Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
because Sunday night was when we came for my birthday dinner.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Sunday.
And he was already cyclopsing.
Yeah, Sunday my husband was out doing yard work. Actually, it was pretty scary. And he was cutting a cactus, and we don't know how or what, but something got in his eye. And he came in, and he's like, I got dirt in my eye. And he went to the bathroom, and he was trying to flush it. And he has like wetting drops. He tried that to just try to get more fluid into his eye to wash it out. And I'm like, do you need help? And so I was trying to look at him, and he was in so much pain, and his eye was just water. And after about a half hour, I'm like, this doesn't seem good. I think you need to go get your eye checked. And he's like, no, I'm fine. It'll be fine. It feels better. And then he's still sitting there. Couldn't keep his eye open. So I'm looking at it, and it's red, angry red. And I'm like, honey, you might have scratched your cornea or something. I said, you need to go. And he's like, no. And I was going to go to town to get Eli to bring him for your birthday dinner. And I was like, look, let me take you to urgent care, and then I'll go get Eli, and then we'll come get you. And at least they'll flush it really good, and they can look at it. No. Like, all right, well, I'm going to go get ready. So I went and got ready. And had my keys and everything. I'm like, last chance. Not last chance, but you know what I mean. I'm like, just come with me. And this had been like an hour and a half now. And I'm like, this is not normal dirt in your eye. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, fine. So he goes in.
When Dad got his hand on the...
I know. Yeah.
You got a band.
Yeah. So I was like, you please come. So he's like, okay, fine. So we go, and then I drop him off, and then he messages me, I have a small cut on his cornea, and also I guess they pulled something out of his eye, and the doctor was asking him, is that a cactus with like white milky sap? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, that could be really bad. So the doctor was very concerned that he might get an infection, so he gave him drops, antibiotic drops, and said no work, no looking at computers, probably because your eyes get dry, no driving. And no driving until you get seen by an ophthalmologist. So he was supposed to take me to my surgery on Tuesday, but by Tuesday he was feeling well, so I drove to my surgery, and he just drove me home real quick. But that was like 3 days later, and he was having, at that point, no pain at all. He got seen by the ophthalmologist and got cleared, and everything's fine. And I guess the scratch had healed by that time, because I think that was like Wednesday he went. Yeah, so poor guy. I mean, that was really painful. And I'm like, you should listen to me. But he did listen to me, and he listened to himself. I think he finally realized, this is not normal dirt.
A lot of times you're like, you don't want to be over dramatic going, and
exactly.
Well, that was like the thing with my burn, and with Dad, my dad years ago, he was putting an air conditioning unit in the back of his truck, I think, or something like that, and it slipped and cut his hand, and so he went in and he was running his hand under the water in the sink, and he was
bleeding all over.
He was bleeding a lot, and he was asking my mom, "Do you have a Band-Aid or something?" She looked at it and she goes, "You're going to the ER."
Yeah, but by the same token, when my mom fell and hit her face on a brick wall outside the house, she tripped on something on the walk, and she was carrying my son. And so she put him down, but that even made it worse because she bent down to put him down. So then she couldn't stand back up.
And she tumbled
and she was trying not to fall down, and she goes, I just kept going faster and faster. And she face planted. The bricks were going this way, not this way. They came out on a little ledge, and she hit her face right there. And my son woke up during all of this, and he came running into the house to get me. And he said, Grandma hit her face on the wall. And I'm like, what? And he goes, Grandma hit her face on the wall. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I had just seen her. We had gone to a restaurant, and we drove home in separate cars. And he's like, just come on. And he was 4 or 5, but he knew this was
But she didn't
bad.
want to go to the ER.
And she walked into the house about the same time that I was coming to the front door. And I took one look at her, and I said, get back in the car, we're going to the ER.
Yeah.
And she goes, why? And I said, and she goes, just let me wash the blood off my face. I don't want the doctor to see me with blood on my face.
Ay.
The doctor is seeing you because there's blood on your face.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But then, I had this procedure on Tuesday. And I'm like, I walked out of there, I'm like, I am never letting anyone do that to anything like this ever again. Now, the doctor was very nice. But, okay, so what I had done was like it's a implantable heart monitor. And sometimes they're done in the hospitals, but now they're starting to do them more in doctor's offices. And, of course, doing it in the doctor's office saves tons of money, right? Because you're not paying the hospital and not, and it's not anything serious enough. So they say that you need anesthesia for, and you don't want to go under anesthesia if you don't have to, right? But I'm like, if you're going to do anything like that to me again, you're knocking me out. Because oh my God. So first he's like, okay, I'm going to, well, they made it sterile. They did they did dressing and drapes and all that. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to inject the numbing medication, get you all numb. Okay, now, you're used to the dentist doing that, right? So you're like, okay, it's going to hurt, and then it'll be numb. No. He's like,
Could Mark
okay.
hear you screaming? And
No, I wasn't screaming, but
I'm
I
kidding,
was
but
crying.
yeah.
But and they're like, don't move your arms, and I'm like, so I was holding under the drapes and everything. I was holding the pockets of my pants because I couldn't grab anything else, and I'm just like squeezing so hard because he's like, okay, it's gonna feel a little pinch, and then it's gonna burn. Like, okay, so he does it, and it hurts, and he's like, I'm like, are you poking my heart? So, and then he's like, okay, I'm gonna leave that for a second. So he goes, and I'm gonna do it again, right? So I thought that was like initial deadening, and then he's going to inject it. But when he injects it again, it's not going to hurt anymore. Like how the dentist puts it in and then puts a little bit more in. But when he puts more in, you don't feel it as much. No. He's like, okay, now you're going to feel burning deeper, and I'm like, okay. And he puts it in, and I'm just like, oh, it hurts so bad. It hurts so bad. And he's like, okay, I'm so sorry. This is the worst part. And I'm like, if it hurts this much, maybe you should just do the thing. And, and then I only have to feel pain one time. But actually, I'm sure it would have been much worse. I'm sure. So then, okay, and then after this all happened, I watched a video animation of how these are put in. So I will explain to you how it was put in, although he's like, okay, close your eyes. And here's the scary part. So first he was like, okay, I'm going to make the incision. And he did that. And he goes, you just feel pressure. And the way they do it, it looks like, it's like a stick with a triangle scalpel on the end, like a letter opener. And they just go into your skin to make the initial incision. He's like, because in the animation it says, okay, pinch the skin and then poke it, like you just with this blade like this, bang, right? And then he says, okay, hold her hand to the nurse, and I'm like, oh crap. And I'm like, it's gonna hurt more, I said through tears. And so the nurse holds my hand, and I'm like squeezing her poor hand, and I'm squeezing my pocket, so I'm trying not to and there's a little part of me that when I was signing the consent, it said you can refuse this procedure until it starts, basically at any point until it commences or whatever. And I was like, does this count? Like, can I refuse it now? But I'm like, so this is my fight or flight brain, right? Or as Hannah calls it, my monkey brain. Like, I just want to get up and run out of here. So I'm laying there holding this poor woman's hand, and he's like, okay, you're going to feel pressure, just pressure, a lot of pressure. So basically what they do is after they make that little incision, it's like a handle with the applicator here, and so it's a plastic applicator, and inside is the monitor, and it's long. It's about the length of like the palm, a little bit longer than the palm of your hand.
Sorry.
This thing. That's okay. And it's shaped like a little oval, and then it has an antenna on the end that's flexible. It's flexible, so it'll move with you. It won't, Okay, so they stick that, so it's like this, right? So they stick that applicator, they shove it into your chest, and it hurts so much. I mean, and because I mean, it just felt gross, and you know, and even though it's scary, I guess. And then also, way kind of this way, I felt like the tip of it, and I was like, yo, you didn't numb over there, you know. And so then basically they shove it in, and then they open it like that, and here's the monitor. They open the door, I mean, they open the little thing, and they pull it out, and the monitor stays there. And he's like, okay, you're all done, and I'm like, and then, you know, they tape me up, and they're like, okay, you know, don't move your arms too much, you know, like, don't go to the gym and, like, work out. And he goes, remember that guy who did that? He goes, one guy went to the gym after this procedure and basically popped it out of his own skin. Because he was so determined to go do lat presses or whatever that, yeah.
Went to the gym?
And the tech guy goes, so the doctor goes, remember that guy? And the tech guy goes, yeah, he promised he would not do that. And he went, like, why would you think? I just had this thing done.
To your heart.
To your, you know, in your body, you have this thing placed because obviously you want it done, or you wouldn't walk in there. And you go through all the pain and all the everything, and then you go jeopardize it. And pop it out. So now you have to go through more pain and more, you know, I'm like, you're stupid. But anyway, so then they sit me up. First of all, my back was killing me because I was on that thing, and I was trying to get my legs comfortable. And he goes, you can't be moving your legs. This is before he started. I'm like, I know, but my back hurts. So they got me pillows, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so the nurse helps me up, and I'm kind of in shock. They're like, okay, you can get dressed. And I'm like, okay. And I wore a button-up, thankfully, because I remembered Mom's pacemaker surgery. Like, you have to have a button-up shirt. You don't want to be putting a t-shirt on. So I button up, and they sit me down in this chair, and they went and got Mark, which is very nice. So he came in, and then the tech gave us the whole spiel about everything. But Mark walks in, and he goes, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't know what just happened to me. I don't know. Like, I was like so zonkered, like in shock anyway. But
do you remember years ago I bit a piece of metal at a restaurant and sheared half of my tooth off?
Yeah.
I had to have that repaired at the dentist, right? And because of the trauma to that tooth, I was in a lot of pain, right? And in order to work on it, he needed to inject, like you were saying, to the dentist, right? He had to inject all this stuff to try to numb it. And he waited. And he came to start, and I said, I can feel everything you're doing.
Yeah.
So each one of those injections hurts.
Yeah.
Right? So he did a few more, and he waited.
Did they give you nitrous or anything?
Not at that time.
Yeah.
No. And then he did a few more, and I could still feel everything. And he said, I can keep injecting you with painkiller, but each one of those shots hurts. So right now, why don't we just go ahead and start working on it, because I'm just hurting you, right? And we talked about it later, and I could feel everything he was doing. I was getting a crown put on, and you know, all kinds of stuff. And it, to this day, it hurts. But he tried so hard to minimize the pain. I had to keep going back because, you know, to make sure, because it wasn't seated right or done, because they have to put on a temporary thing while they make the crown, and you know, so it was a lot of visits. But they had to switch to nitrous, after that first visit because he said this isn't working, right? Well, we talked about it, and he said if you consume a lot of caffeine, a lot of times painkillers do not work as well. Yeah, he said, so if you're going to have a procedure done that you think might be painful, he said, try not to drink caffeine that morning and take Tylenol or something beforehand. And so I have used that advice so many times. He was such a good dentist.
Yeah.
He would, if he did anything to you, he would call you that evening.
Nice.
When he was done with his day,
That's
he
how
would
Dr.
call
Nesbitt
you.
is. Yeah, we like our
Yeah,
dentist.
he
He's
would
so
call you
sweet.
and say, "Do you need pain medication? Are you okay?"
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So
But I was like, because as I was walking out of there, I thought, because the battery life on this thing is like 5 to 6 years. I thought it was 3 years. Because I asked the guy if it was 3 years. He goes, no, he goes, all of our competitors are 3 years. We're the longest one in blah, blah, blah. He was so proud of but it was nice. Like, I like a guy who believes in what he's doing. But yeah, the battery life is like 5 to 6 years. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, because some people, I guess, get them out if you don't need them anymore, and the battery's dead or whatever, you replace it or whatever. And I'm like, as I was walking out of the office, I'm like, if I ever have to get this out or replaced, you were going to put me in an OR. You're going to knock me out. Because I am not, I can tolerate a lot, but I cannot. I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore, ever.
The only time I've ever had an issue with that sort of thing was when I had, a couple of times, a long time ago, I hit like the joint of this finger on a branch, and I just hit it kind of like right directly into it, and so I went to the doctor, and because it was still, I guess, because initially I don't think I did anything to it. It was just a little swollen. I took some, I don't know, ibuprofen or whatever, but it was kind of still, persisting. And so I mentioned it to the doctor, and so he gave me, I think it was a cortisone shot or something in there. Oof. But he injected it like right kind of where the injury was, whatever. And he says something about, you can see it go up the tendon sheath or something. You can see the little bubble go up. And I was like, okay, I can't look, I can't look at it.
Pass out.
And I was feeling kind of, but then the other time was when I was in Little Rock. At one point, I had some kind of it was something with my elbow, because he kept asking me, well, did you hit your arm? Did you, because it's kind of like, he said, what they used to call tennis elbow. Mm-hmm. And so, you have this, like swelling, whatever problem in your joint. And it had gotten to where I couldn't even, like, if I had my arm like this, I could, like, going into the office, we had like a swinging door. And on that door, if I kept my arm like folded up, I could push it. But if I extended my arm this way and pushed it, I couldn't do it. And like if I went to lift a gallon of milk, I had to have my arm bent like this to pick it up. And it got to the point where it got that way with a like a soda can. Mm-hmm. I couldn't extend my arm and pick it up. I couldn't do the weight there. So he at first I think they gave me some Aproxen, I think, naproxen. Right. And I was like, I called the nurse like, is it supposed to still hurt? Because it didn't. Yeah. It didn't. I couldn't feel any effect at all.
I found Aproxen highly ineffective.
Yeah, like taking candy. And so
not as ineffective as Tylenol.
And so I went back to the doctor. I don't know, a few days, maybe the next day, a couple days later, I don't know, and it still hurt and everything. So he decided to do an injection. And so, I was just there in his office. I had my arm there on the counter, and we were talking, blah blah blah, so at first they give you like the numbing medicine or whatever, and then they do the injection or something. And so what he did the first day, I have injections don't bother me, things like that. And so we were talking, blah blah blah, and then when he went to do the actual cortisone injection into the joint, we were talking, and then after a while, it, you know, started to hurt. I was like, okay, I'm going to stop talking now. I had to look away. I was like, because, you know, you could just feel it going, getting
Yeah, well,
like a balloon.
those cortisone injections are painful, but they're highly effective.
Yeah.
I've had cortisone injections in this shoulder that hurts now. I suspect
Mm-hmm.
I'll end up getting another one. I had cortisone injections in my knee, which we will talk about in a minute. I had cortisone injections in the sole of my foot. You know, just over and over. And they're very effective, but man, they hurt going in.
I remember when...
So,
I'm all done with hurting.
so speaking of hurting, as I've said before, I'm in a lot of pain with my knees and my hips and, you know, arthritis going on. And I told the story of the doctor telling me, well, you know, you're old and blah, blah, blah. And a month, it's been almost 2. I asked in August this doctor for a referral to an orthopedist. And the only reason I waited till August was because I've been seeing a pain management doctor, and so I had asked for referrals for pain management earlier this year, right? And it just hasn't been effective. He had some issues with, you know, trying to manage the pain in my knees, and it's getting to where my knees are giving out, and I almost fell into a hot griddle the other day. So I kept expecting the referral to go through, and they never called me. And so I called the main number for their group of offices, and they said, no, I don't see any requests for referral or any referral for you for orthopedics. So I said, well, then make another appointment. Plus, this past summer I fell by the pool and was holding on to the rail when I fell, and I fell forward onto my knee because my knee gave out. And I told the pain management doctor, who just kind of went, I told my physical therapist his referral didn't say to work on that on my shoulder, so he couldn't do anything about it. And just kind of I told this doctor, new doctor, first visit in August, and that's when I asked for the referral too. It has gotten to where I am having trouble moving. I couldn't move this way because this shoulder was hurting me. And so I went back to the doctor this past week, got the referral, but his first thing to me, he said to me this time, was not that I was old, but why have you let this go so long? What?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I have been, for this knee, when was it that I had the meniscus surgery? 2017?
Yeah, I don't know. No idea.
Been going to pain management, going to an orthopedist, trying to lose weight so I could have knee replacement surgery, just over and over. What do you mean? Why have I let this? I haven't let it go at all.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, and sometimes
That doctor sounds weird.
he is weird. He's strange. Sometimes I have told myself that I know I'll be arrested, but the next time a doctor tells me that something hurts because I'm old, he's likely to get hit. Because my knee doesn't hurt because I was old. When I fell out of the van and hurt my back, and I injured this shoulder the same way at that time, so this is a re-injury on that has gotten better with physical therapy and various things, but they never took any images to find out why it hurts. But they finally sent me to a specialist, and his thing was, well, you're old, so it'll take a while for it to stop hurting my neck and my back and my shoulder. And I was like, you're a specialist? That's your advice? Right? Not maybe we should take an MRI, maybe we should take an X-ray. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Not even the basic
Wow.
diagnostics. they had sent me to physical therapy about that. But 2017 in February, I tore the meniscus on my knee at work and had to be dealing with workman's comp about it. But at that ER in February, the doctor told me, well, you're old, so it's probably arthritis.
Oh.
And he goes, look, it feels a lot better now when they were putting a brace on my knee and giving me crutches, right? It feels a lot better now. And I'm like, it feels better because you gave me morphine.
Yeah.
And it's got a brace on it. That's why I can stand up.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt because I'm old. I'm the same age now as I was this morning when I could walk. You know? I'm like,
Wow.
do you hear yourself talk?
Yeah.
You know, people don't hurt because they're old. They hurt because something is wrong.
Yeah.
You know? Stop
Or
telling
because
me
they
that.
stab you with things.
I can
Yeah.
understand.
Or because they stab you with things. But they weren't minimizing your pain, right?
Yeah, I can understand. Like, saying, I guess like if you have wear and tear on a joint or something like that. That's yeah, your age is a factor in that because you've put more wear and tear on it than when you were 20. Okay, but that means then yes, you're old. So the diagnosis is, whatever overuse injury or whatever, but there's something that can be done for that, like medication, like certain exercises, like surgeries or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not like, oh well, you're old, and so you're just expecting
too bad.
to be,
Well, and I think,
decrepit,
I think that one of the reasons why it bothers me so much is that when my mother was starting to need a hip replacement surgery, her knee was hurting her. And at that time, she was seeing a male primary care physician. And my mother was of the era where the doctor knew what he was doing. And she kept going to doctors, and they kept saying, there's nothing wrong with your knee. Here's another pain pill.
Mm-hmm.
And she was so bad that I came home from work one day, and she was trying to make dinner, and she was gripping the sides of the counter in the kitchen to try to stay upright so that she could make dinner. I said, put all that away. We're going out to eat. And I went to my doctor, and I said, I need you to give me the name of a female primary care doctor for my mom to go to. That doctor listened, and she said, I don't know anything about orthopedists. Let's send you to an orthopedic doctor.
Mm-hmm.
That doctor watched her walk for 5 seconds and said, well, your knee hurts because your hip is going out.
Mm-hmm.
And gave her knee replacement surgery
Hip replacement.
Hip replacement surgery, sorry. Very soon after that, she tried therapy, but, it wasn't helping. And had they tried therapy earlier, it might have helped her. Right? But her pain had been so great that right after that surgery, when she was in the hospital, they came and asked her, do you need any pain medication? Are you okay? Do you need pain? She goes, no, I'm great.
I feel fine now.
I feel fine because the problem was taken care of. And doctors just minimizing your pain and not trying to find the reason for the pain is infuriating to me, because my mother was suffering for so long.
Well, I remember she came to visit me in October. She had that surgery like in February or something. So she had come to visit me the previous October, and I remember her saying, oh, I just need to walk. I just need to keep walking so that it doesn't get stiff and whatever, because she was thinking like arthritis or old age, because that's what everybody was telling her. But I remember she and I walked from my apartment to the river market, which was it's about 6 or 7 blocks away, I guess. And and she was kind of hot, and I felt bad after I found out about the hip replacement, because she was hurting her knee by walking, because she was thinking that she just needed to she just needed to walk and whatever.
And I did go see an orthopedist sometime after the meniscus repair, because I knew that I had arthritis in that knee, but he said, we cannot give you a knee replacement surgery with your weight being what it is. Mm-hmm. You need to lose weight. And he said, and I have to tell you that you need to keep using that joint. Don't stop using that joint, mm-hmm. so that you can retain the use of it.
Right.
And so I've been doing that. I walk. I don't walk like for fun, because I live in Phoenix. But I walk in the grocery store. I don't ride the little carts. Lately, if it's been really bad, I'll have to. But I try to do things anyway. But it's getting to the point where I can't, which is why I wanted to go back. And I don't want pills. And I don't, if I'm still too fat for surgery, fine. But find a different solution.
Yeah.
I've heard of gel injections or something, and I'm not afraid of needles and injections. But my pain management doctor, my pain management doctor doesn't want to give me any more he wanted to do a nerve block, and now he doesn't, because he said I bled too much during the test run on it. Mm. And my doctor is going, you're going to have to tell everybody that you have some kind of bleeding issue. Mm. And I'm like, I haven't noticed a bleeding issue so much as 2 instances when I, like with my toe, and 2 instances where there seems to be more blood than there should have been.
Yeah.
But if I cut myself at home or something, I don't bleed like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But, it's like, come on. That's just a cop-out to tell me that.
Yeah.
Just don't even let those words pass your lips, because it's not okay. I hurt because I have arthritis, not because I'm old. I have arthritis because I'm old. But I also have arthritis mostly on the right-hand side, because for a long time I had to use that whole side to pull myself up into a work truck. And even with the van that I have right now, I have to pull myself up, Yeah. And, it's like, stop minimizing my pain by telling me I'm old and that's why it hurts.
Yeah. Because that's just dismissive.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I just thought of another cat story. Because talking about walking. Mm-hmm. So we have a treadmill in our bedroom, and it's one of those that folds up like that. Mm-hmm. Well, it's more of an angle, because instead of being flat, it'll fold up like at I don't know what it is. It's not 45, but it's a little higher than that, just to keep it up out of the way. And of course, that's where it is, right? And we don't have clothes hanging on it, so at least there's that. But we do have stuff under it where it should come down. But anyway, and so it happened the other night. We heard something, but we weren't really sure. And then last night, same cat that did that in my kitchen.
We didn't tell them what they did.
Oh yeah, I can tell you. He. I think I told you the other day he was up like on top of the fridge and we couldn't find him, and he jumped down. Well, while we were sitting here earlier, that big noise you heard was him trying to get up on our fridge. Well, we have some stuff on the counter kind of to prevent him from it. So I guess he thought he would kind of just do like a parkour thing where he like hit the counter and then go up the fridge. But on the side of the fridge, we have this magnet, very strong magnet, not strong enough, holding
it meant to hold a cat.
It's like a big, like a pen holder or something. It's like a organizer. And we have it on the side of the fridge, and we keep pens and random. It's like a vertical junk drawer. And anyway, he thought maybe he could climb that, and so when he jumped up, he grabbed it, and it just came down on the floor, and all the pens.
What is the
That's what we
quote
saw
from
him thinking
the House
about
of-
when we were laughing that he was being naughty.
The House of Usher, great with the fall of it.
Yes. So, same cat. Early this morning, late last night, sometime in the night, we hear scramble, scramble, scratch, 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 scramble, scramble, scramble. I'm like, what are you doing? So I get up and I turn my flashlight on my phone on, and I go over there and I do this, and there he is, perched on the top of the top edge of the treadmill. And I'm like, I can't lift him. He's like, I think I before I had surgery, I weighed him. I weighed myself and then I weighed him. And I think he's like 12 pounds. So it's like, I can't, and I also can't like reach up like that and pull him down. It's not good for me. So I was like, Mark, I can't get him down. And so Mark got up and he was so tired. And finally, Hobbs decided to scramble down. And he goes, I think that's what he was doing when we heard him earlier. So we were going back to bed, and I was like, at least someone's using the treadmill. Like, oh my God, I really should be using it.
You know, that
Crash.
thing of pens on the floor. When I first moved out here, I had my own apartment, and I don't remember if I heard it or whatever, but when I would come out of my bedroom in the morning, there was always a surprise, because like my cat Snug I had my trash can under the sink in the kitchen, you know, had the cabinet door closed there, and I guess it must have been those kind of cabinets that just have they just swing shut, right? And so he would open it up, and I'd find the garbage knocked over on the floor. And then one time I had a thing of cookie cutters on top of the refrigerator, and it was. And one time I came out and it was on the floor, and all my cookie cutters were on the floor. And it's like it's just a cat thing. I saw a cartoon I think this morning, and it had like, I don't know, various pictures, but it had like this person like it said something like, you know, your cat destroying all your stuff at 3 a.m. or something.
Yes.
This person's lying in bed with their eyes popped open, like, what is that?
I know, it's awful. It's awful. So the other night, I think I was getting ready. I think it was Thursday night, because I had to go to work Friday, so I wanted to take a bath, and I can't get this wet. So I was like, how am I gonna do this? So I taped plastic bag, a sandwich bag with Band-Aids around, because it's very awkward. You know, it's not like where you can wrap your arm in saran wrap or something. So I taped it to myself, and I took a bath. And
That's why that big box of Band-Aids is...
yes, my bath. So I hear a crash in here, and I knew I had left one of my yarn bags on the table, and I thought, great, Cat is, and Mark was asleep, so I couldn't call him and say, you know. So, and then I looked at the door of the bathroom. It's just the middle of the night, so there's no one home. And the door of the bathroom was open, a little cracked, like I didn't shut it all the way. So I was like, oh, cool. So I'm like calling the cats. I'm like, hi, it's Calvin. Come here, come here, come here, come here. Because I thought maybe if they're in the yarn bag and Hobbs hears me, he'll come to me instead of destroying the yarn. So that was my thinking. So both cats come in. They put their little noses in, and they both come into the bathroom. So I'm like, okay, they're in here. They're not causing mischief. But the door was still open, right? And I'm in there in the bath, and I'm just, I think I was watching a show or something. And I hear bang, like that cabinet door banging.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Hobbs. And I look over, and Hobbs and Calvin are in the bathroom with me. So it's like, Mark, is that you?
Phone call is coming from in the house.
It's coming from in the house.
I've been watching Criminal Minds again, so
I know.
that's how they start.
I know. Now the alarm was on in the house, so I thought it couldn't be an intruder, but it could have been a ghostie. So because I was like, Mark, is that you? No answer. Because sometimes he'll get up in the night, and I thought maybe there was a cabinet door open and up top, you know, and he shut it. I'm like, Mark? Okay. So I was like, I can't get up, just run out of the bathroom. So I was like, well, the cats are in here. So if there was something scary coming down the hall, they would know it, right? And I came out, and I did find something on the floor that was the initial crash I heard, but it was like a cabinet door, so I thought maybe it was kind of open and shut by itself.
Yeah.
Because,
But
I keep telling the story of the bread that left off the counter.
Yes. I know.
when I was,
it's just weird things.
when I was,
The earth shifted, is what I say.
But this was shifting really hard because I was in a grocery store and the bread on the very top shelf, I rounded the corner like this. There was nobody in this aisle. There was a woman not close to the bread in that aisle, and the bread in the very top thing went shing. And both of us looked at each other. We looked up there, looked at each other like, what happened?
It's creepy.
When I lived in Little Rock, I lived alone, and it got to the point where I guess it started after I got snug. I started doing this. That when I was not in the bathroom, I kept the bathroom door closed, and when I went to go to the bathroom, I just left the door open because there was nobody there but me. And so, I would let the cats come in with me whenever I went to the bathroom because, then they could come in, and Puck loves to drink from the sink. And so that was, whatever. But I started doing that because I had the bathroom door open at some point, and I had one of those little, over the toilet, storage things. And the one I had in my apartment was, it was like a chrome finish thing, and it had like a wire rack shelves, And so Snug had jumped up on the very tippy top one, and he was standing with his toes all splayed like this because the little wire rack thing of the shelf, he couldn't stand on it without splaying his toe, and he couldn't get down. So I had to go fish him. He was young still; he was little. So I had to go fish him down off of the shelf, and so I just kept the door shut all the time.
Well, that's what I thought, because I thought Hobbs was not going to be able to get down, because he was like wobbling, splayed claws.
Yeah.
But he finally figured his way down. But we have been talking a long time.
Yes.
So we better
And
wrap
all
this
your
up.
stories of cats made me go, oh my God, Rogue is alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a date with some laundry, and also to pick up a lot of pens and junk in my kitchen.
You would not believe the mess the cat made in the kitchen.
I can't believe all those pens fit in that little thing. That's what I tell you. That's kind of where, like, let's put a pen by the fridge, and then it was so full that you could have put another pen.
At least he didn't knock the griddle off, because if he had, it might have knocked those 2 bottles off.
Yeah, it
It would have been really bad.
And your cookie jar, and
Lots of stuff
I can see it's breakable.
breakable. So
I made some pretty good progress.
Me too. I am on my last. This is. I have 6 rows left of this side of the shawl.
I made a lot of progress too.
Thank you for joining us this week. We will see you next week.
All right.
Okay. Thanks so much. Bye.